Hey, so how are you doing? Welcome to another event with Dublin Coding School. This evening, we're going to be looking at data analytics, but specifically then looking at data analytics in the banking and financial services sector. We've got two great speakers on the panel tonight. It's actually two of our lecturers, but they're also senior data analysts at the Bank of Ireland, so have great insight into this particular topic. Just before we start, just a bit about who we are. So this is the Dublin Coding School. We're a premier tech education provider based in Dublin, but we also have three other schools across Europe. So we've been going for 6 years with about 5,000 graduates. Courses in data analytics, obviously, but also web development, UX, UI design, cybersecurity, and automation testing. We're a school for adults who are looking to change their careers. So if you're in an area, if you want to get involved in the tech boom that's happening in Dublin and get a job in one of those areas, please let us know. And we can talk about matching your career history with a new career in tech. Obviously, we have the courses, but we also have the Career Centre where we help you with your CV, your online presence, and we also send your profile out to partner companies who hire in those areas. So a lot to talk about. I'll maybe talk a bit about that at the end, but I'd like to start off maybe by introducing our first speaker and lecturer, Johns George. Johns, maybe if you'd welcome to the show, maybe if you'd like to tell us a bit about who you are and your background in data analytics.
Yeah, so hey, Luke, thanks for having me. My name is Johns George. I'm a senior data analyst in Bank of Ireland. So I've been working in bank for almost 3 years now. Before that, I used to be a software engineer internship, and I had a computer science degree from DIT. So that's a small background of what I do. And yeah, I can tell you later about it.
Great, thanks a lot. And also we're joined by Vinil, who's also a lecturer at Dublin Coding School. But I'll let Vinil then maybe tell us a bit about his career history leading up to Bank of Ireland. Vinil.
Hi, Luke. Thank you for having me. So I am working along with George as senior data analyst in Bank of Ireland. So it's been more than 3 years within the bank. So I've worked more into the strategic analytics side of things. And prior to that, I did my master's in UCD Smurfit Business School, so master's in business analytics. So I did some, course in analytics as well. And before that, I was working in India for a pure play analytics firm called Mu Sigma. So most of my projects there were involved into, digital analytics and retail analytics. So I can talk about that more in the coming session. Thanks.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. So look, let's dive straight in. So I know a lot of people watching might be new to this topic area. So I think we should start right at the beginning and maybe build up to really about learning more about the sector. But starting right at the beginning, what does a data analyst actually do? What is a data analyst? Who'd like to answer that one first?
Yeah, I can give it a go. So data analyst is someone, just like the job title itself. We actually look into the data, like recently in last decade, I would say, data has been exponentially very high because of the availability of internet. So, social media, banking, everything is available in our fingertips and through the mobile. So all this data is stored somewhere. So if you give an example for the banking, if you do a debit card transaction or credit card transactions, everything is stored somewhere. So as a data analyst, we go in and analyze it and see in a customer perspective how we can improve customer service or what other things we can offer to customers to improve their interaction with the bank. So this is like a simple use case what we do. Or say, for instance, if you're working in a social media company like Facebook as a data analyst, so there we will see ads all the time. So it's not just random ads. So data analyst or data scientist will look into our your data as a not in a one base. Due to GDPR, we had to look into the aggregate level. So we will look into that and say what this customer is interested in and give the best ads they will be interested in. So these kind of things are what in generic what a data analyst will do.
Yeah. Okay. So Vinil, how would you tackle that from a real basic standpoint? Maybe just in a generic way. What does a data analyst do? What is data analytics?
As John's mentioned, data is increasing at an exponential rate, and every organization is trying to generate some value out of that data. So even if you have any digital footprint, if you operate mobile, go to websites, everything is captured, like John's mentioned. So So as a data analyst, what we do is we usually try to extract that data from the databases. So that's the first thing a data analyst does is communicating with the database, try to generate some insight and try to find out what can be useful and what is not useful within that data. So we try to understand first what the business problem is and try to extract that data, develop some insights from it, which will help the organizations to make better decisions. So for example, let's say if if the company is running some marketing campaign, but first thing is it should not send the marketing campaign to everyone. It should send the marketing campaign to people who are more likely to respond to that campaign, right? So for projects like these are all handled by data analysts.
Okay, so what would be the value is then of a data analyst for, because I suppose I get the point now, it's hard to think of an industry or company that isn't using data in some way or operating online in some way. So there's a real need, isn't there, for data analysts in almost every industry and every company to be managing that data. But Johns, actually, before we went on air, you actually told me about an interesting case from, I believe, the supermarket chain in America, is that right? About beer and nappies and how data analytics changed how they were arranging the shop. Is that right?
I think it's way back in 90s, I think. So back then, the American supermarket was looking into what, how the purchases are going in the category, as men, what men are purchasing. So what they saw was men who purchase, beer was also very likely to purchase diapers as well. So, when they saw this correlation, they actually, what they did was in supermarket, they put the, beer and diaper aisle next to, to each other. So they're just, their, sales just skyrocket for both of them. So these kind of insight was provided by the data analyst in the background. So they will look into, how the sales is going for this product at this point of time, or maybe, like chocolate will increase the sales exponentially during the Christmas times. So we have to look into that in that level. What period is like a seasonal or non-seasonal, things are going on. So that's where the data analyst will come in. But also just to point out, it's not just data analyst who comes up with the questions. So the questions are brought in by the other stakeholders, within the bank, or bank or any organization. So they will say, this is a question we want to be answered. So as a data analyst, we go in and look into the data, analyze it, provide these small insights here and there that they can use to make better data-driven decisions.
Yeah, so that is an interesting case, isn't it? So they noticed one particular segment of data, which was the men coming into the shop were buying certain things. So they start moving those around and putting them together to make it more convenient to see if they could up sales. So it's quite an interesting.
Exactly. Just like, there's a reason why milk and dairy, like bread is at the very end of the supermarket. It's not like they want you to work for the to walk up the milk and the eggs. They know every person will buy milk or these kind of things every day. So they want to walk you through all the aisles and see, okay, there's a discounted product, so that you're more likely to buy it.
It almost reminds me of this. I was reading the sports pages of the Irish Times last week, and they had a case study on the football club Brentford. I don't know if you've seen that story. And the owner of Brentford was obsessed with Moneyball, the film, and they'll only buy players based upon underlying statistics. So they always just want to look at the data on these people of, how many shots at goal, how many this, what are they running? It's all based on statistics, not even watching them play. And they've put the team together, and they've just been promoted to the Premier League. So we'll see what they're like next year, which I'm sure will be an interesting job to be the data analyst at Brentford FC. But by the way, just before I get on to my next question, we have a question come in already on the Facebook. So if, by the way, if you are watching this and you have a question, please type it in, keeping our eye on the feed here, and we'll ask the question straight away. So Noah has asked, and what are the required skills? So maybe I could have a go first while going over to you, just that from speaking to the guys, I know that SQL or SQL is an important one. And maybe I'll talk to the guys about what these are, but I think it's a tool for extracting data from a database. And then Tableau or Power BI is another system where you visualize data, putting it into images. and then Python is a coding language for that data analysts might use. So I know that they are three of the key skills or tools you need to learn. So maybe I'll hand up to you guys. Would you think they would be the three main ones? Would you maybe answer the question, what would be the required skills of a data analyst?
Yeah, I mean, I can go with that. So, I think you rightly mentioned about SQL, Tableau, and Python as well. SQL is just a language which is used to communicate with the database. So that is the most important one as well. And when it comes to Tableau, it's more on the presentation side. I would say as a data analyst, it's very important to have both technical as well as communication skills, because,
yeah, that's a great point.
You need to build a story around what you're trying to do. So it's never going to be straightforward, because, there'll be huge amount of data, and from that data, you're going to find out some insights, and you'll have to present those insights to the senior management. So a storytelling or a good form of presentation is required. So I would say Tableau is a good form for visualization. Again, Power BI, and then I think even a PowerPoint presentation works well if you have a good storytelling. So I would say both technical as well as soft skills are required for a successful data analyst. Yeah.
That's a great question. Point you're making about the communication skills. Johns, would you agree with that? On obviously you need those technical skills of SQL, Power BI, Tableau, and Python, but communication skills are almost just as important, aren't they, Johns?
Yeah, exactly. Like technology will always be updated every couple of years. But soft skill is one of the most important things. Talking to the business, the people who require this data, or creating this PowerPoint. Engaging PowerPoint, I would say, not just bullet point PowerPoints, and engaging PowerPoint, going to the meetings and showcasing your data, what you found out. All this is very important. So the one thing I always point out to everyone is, don't hold yourself back saying, okay, I am not a person with a good communication skills, so I can't do this job. So I am that kind of person. Everything I learn, I put a bit more effort into it to improve my communication skills. And I am much more of a person who will be very happy to be left behind a laptop and do the job without going to any meetings or talking to anyone. But as a data analyst, you have to do a bit more than that. You have to go to the meetings, you have to showcase your data, you have to communicate constantly with the stakeholders. Everything is needed. So that is all the skills you can learn and improve all the time.
Great. And look, we've had another question come through saying, is the qualification is doing the course or a diploma or qualification certificate in data analytics enough to get a job? Well, I can maybe answer that. So look, I know from the coding, from our perspective, we look to get you into internships to get you experience. So Dublin Coding School has recently partnered with Scale Ireland, which is an association that represents tech startups in Ireland. And we provide them with interns to those startups to get great experience on your CV, as well as having the certificate, which will mean, you can then work with a real life startup analyzing their data. We've also partnered with Launchbox, which is within Tangent, which is in Trinity College, and that's where they have a startup incubator. So we give you internship experience there after the course, and then we look to get you into junior roles. So look, you've got to start somewhere. Obviously the courses we offer are for beginners to get you to the basic and entry level. So it's not an advanced course, but certainly that we feel if you're trying to get into this for the first time, this is the place to start. So I hope that answers your question. That was from Ngoyen there. And we've had another question through from Noah again saying, thank you guys. So thank you back. So what they're saying there is, yes, do you need good storytelling skills? Which is, yes, absolutely. Do you need to be good at statistics? And also this question comes up, do you need to be good at mathematics as well? What do you think, guys?
So I would say, to be a data analyst, more of your skills are into SQL and Tableau. But as and when you progress into your career, these statistical skills they also become very important as well to progress in your career. As an intern, you might not need it, but going down the line, firstly you are more focusing into descriptive analytics, which is like checking what happened with the data.
Yeah.
When you come to forward-looking analytics like predictive analytics, that time you'll definitely need some sort of statistical knowledge as well. But I think that is that you can learn on the go once once you start off as a data analyst.
Very good. So you learn as you go. So you get this base level of knowledge and you move through it. They've also mentioned some things here about Spark and Hadoop. Do you know what they are, guys?
Yeah, I mean, Spark and Hadoop, again, these are like buzzwords in today's world. But once you know the basic SQL, the Spark SQL, like, or once you know Python, you can learn PySpark. Once you know SQL, you can learn, Spark SQL as well. So it's basically around the big data, but it also depends on the organization you're working with, because having that infrastructure is in itself is quite heavy investment for the organization. So if they have it, then you'll probably get used to working with that, a bit of difference in the syntax. So it's not about technologies like John's mentioned. It's just about learning concepts, and once you know the concepts, it becomes easier to move to different technologies because they will definitely keep on changing.
Yeah, so what you're saying is learn the basics first and then move into those other types of systems, and the basics being SQL, Tableau, and Python. Yeah. Okay, very good. So look, if there are any more questions, feel free to type them in, even from people who've already asked them. If you want to expand on any points we raised there, I'll maybe move on with the questions we had here, which was, let me just see. So moving on, to the banking sector in particular. So are there any particular stories you guys have, or what the role is of a data analyst within the banking and financial services sector that you could maybe let the viewers know about?
Say a small example I can give is, during the COVID times, e-commerce and contactless payment just skyrocketed. So we had if bank want to see how was the e-commerce transaction done during last Christmas, during COVID, compared to the 2019 one. So that is something we can, as a business, data analyst can go in and check, compare Christmas sales versus during COVID and before COVID, and how was it within the segments of customers, like students or someone who's earning, very well, relatively well, and who is a teenager, or these kind of levels. We can actually look into it and say how we can improve the customer service for these customers. So this is a good example. E-commerce transaction, contactless payments, all these ones.
Yeah, very good. And Vinil, what would you think? What any examples of data analytics in the banking or financial services sector?
Yeah, so I think in banking, almost all the departments, they will have their own data analysts as well, be it sales or marketing, be it fraud, anti-money laundering, even HR, audit. Every department within the bank, they will have analysts working for that particular department. So just an example as well. So in retail analytics, so most of the banks, they try to understand how their branches are performing, how their ATMs are performing, whether an ATM is out of order and there are a lot of customers living there, and how are we serving those customers. So basically, understanding the performance of that ATM becomes crucial. And for that, we need to understand what are the busiest time and day of that ATM, what are the demographics of that particular area. Probably, if there are older people living, then they are more likely to use cash, something like that. So it's basically, you have to take into consideration not just the data that is available to you, but also the external data. And when you combine these two together, you can form insights, and you can basically help in strategic decision making regarding the performance of ATMs. So
very good. Yeah, that's a good example there. And by the way, just so we remember, you both have mentioned stakeholders quite a bit. So just for people at home who might be, who aren't in this world yet, maybe just explain to them what is a stakeholder.
Well, stakeholder can be anyone who requests the data or insight. So they are the one, just like Vinil said, say for instance, they want to know at what ATM was out of order at this point of time. So they are the stakeholder who ask these questions. So we are the ones who provide them, and we keep a constant, contact with them back and forth. They are the one who actually makes decisions accordingly.
Okay, so a stakeholder is anyone in the business who needs to make a decision based on data then. So it could be the marketing department, the finance team, the operations team, and then they come to you, and then you'll help them out by extracting that data, visualizing it, and providing the insights to them.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so we had a question actually which ties in with the question we're going to ask here about the career path. Someone asked here, what are the job titles? But I suppose that is another way of asking what is the career path. So what would you say, starting right from an intern and then moving up, what would be the various job titles you'd have in data analytics?
So let's say you join as an intern. So in analytics or as a data analyst, there are basically two major streams that you can work into. First is more into the data management or data quality or data governance side, wherein you are mostly working on the back end, probably checking the tables, altering the tables, or maybe checking the data quality, because that is of utmost important. The quality of the data should be really good to derive insights from it. So that's one part of a data analyst role. The other part can be more into developing BI solutions for different stakeholders, more on working on the basically extracting the data from the tables and developing insights from that. So when you join as an intern, you can first as an intern, then probably a data analyst, a senior data analyst as well. And then, then comes, sometimes, because if you want to work more into machine learning or more into predictive side of things, you can focus on data scientist as well. But so that's how how it starts. Firstly, you become a data analyst and then look for whether you want to go into the data analyst side or data scientist side.
Very good. So there's sort of a way up. So you move from being an intern to a junior to an executive to a senior, and then I suppose that you probably go down a management route, I'd say, or a technical route, which ultimately leads to machine learning and artificial intelligence at its very end. At the moment, the way technology is. So I hope that answers your question there, and go. So if there's any more questions, we'll be finishing up shortly. So if you want to ask anything, you can get it in now. I'll just ask now to both of you, maybe go to John's first. What advice would you give to someone who's watching this and is thinking about, becoming a data analyst, maybe doing a course in it and getting involved? What advice would you give to an aspiring data analyst who might be watching?
So I would say, I was seeing people coming from a variety of fields, hospitality, sales, marketing, different fields to these data analyst roles. So it's not a job you not able to learn, like SQL, Python, or Tableau. It's all, once you understand the basics, you can learn any kind of, even what Vinil mentioned, statistics or machine learning side. If you're interested, you can learn all that. All you need to know is the basics of data analyst. So all you have to do is put effort into learning it, and put every 1 or 2 hours every day, and to learn each technology, understanding the concepts of data analyst. And if you want to improve the communication skills or PPT skills, PowerPoint skills, anything, it just takes a bit of effort to do learn these things. And once you understand the concepts, it's easy enough to progress through data analyst, senior roles, or management, just anything like.
Very good. And Vinil, what would be your advice to somebody who is thinking about starting on their journey to changing their career and becoming a data analyst?
Yeah, so if you are starting a career as a data analyst, or changing the field to data analyst, I would say don't feel overwhelmed with the number of technologies or number of tools or programming languages that you might need to learn, because initially it's just 2 to 3 basic tools that you will have to learn, and once you get a grasp of it, it becomes easier to learn a lot of other technologies as well. And I can definitely say this, be it data analyst, data scientist, everyone in any organization, they constantly take help of Stack Overflow or Google. It's all about knowing what to search for. It's never like you can master a particular programming language. So it's just keep on learning, I would say. And don't feel overwhelmed with a lot of technologies as that comes in the data analyst job role.
Very good. And just maybe to finish off, unless there's any questions from someone watching, what would be you think of the top 2 or 3 attributes of a great data analyst? Who'd like to answer that one? Well, you can both have a go.
So one, I would say, every data analyst should have is communication skills. Knowing how, once you prepare the data and insights, then it's all the matter of telling the story, just like Vinil said, telling it properly and getting it out there so the management can make the correct data-driven decisions. But apart from the soft skills, it's understanding the basic concepts and know what to do when you run into problems. You will run into problems every day. Even I do run into problems every day. So knowing what to do, like it could be, asking help from someone, some of your colleague, or just, Googling it yourself to find a solution. So it's just the basic concept, like, communication skills, learning the concepts. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. And Vinil, what would you think for you? What would be the top? And you can repeat them if they're the same. But what do you think would be the top two or three?
What John's mentioned, just to add on to that, communication skills are extremely important. But at the same time, having a curious mindset, and asking the right questions becomes very important as well, because the stakeholders might come to you with a very vague or very broad problem, and you might have to drill down that problem and see what exactly needs to be done. So I think asking the right questions and asking those to the stakeholders is extremely important. So I think that is another attribute that I would like to add.
Great. And we've just had another question come through here saying how long does the course take? So the course is 8 weeks long. It's quite intensive. So it's 3 sessions per week. They go usually during the week between 6:30 till 9:30 in the evening. And they're online at the moment. We have facilities in other countries. We haven't opened the facility here yet for the obvious reason of COVID, but we hope to next year. So it's 8 weeks with 3 modules. So the first one being in SQL, then Tableau, then Python, and it's marked on coursework and project work, continuous assessment. It's all live with a lecturer. So the next course is actually going to be going at the end of this month, and John's George will be leading that group. We limit the groups to no more than 10 students to make it sure it's as interactive as possible, because we want you to be able to ask questions, get live feedback, and do live work. And that doesn't really work if you have 34 students, 30 or 40, I should say, students in a class like some other schools might. Also, Vinil will be leading the group after that. So we have a course going every month. And then after that, again, we have other lecturers. We have Ray McDonough, who's at Wayfair, and we have Daniel Reddy, who's data lead at TikTok ex Facebook, who's also leading groups in September, October time. So they go every month, and they're 8 weeks. But it's actually more than 8 weeks if you use the second chance policy. So when you book onto our course, you get the chance to sit it twice as part of the same fee. And you might think, why would you do that? But why would I put myself through that? But the reason is, the first time you do it, you get your certificate. You then might be looking for a role, and our Career Centre helps you with that, as we mentioned. And maybe in 6 to 8 months, you get a role and you are onboarding and you want to refresh your knowledge. So you can sit the course again to brush up on the skills you've learned. The second time around, you're almost doing it in a different way. You're focusing on the areas that maybe you were weaker in, but you have more of a knowledge. So you're going over old ground and just upskilling in a way, or reinforcing your knowledge. So you can do it twice within 12 months. So I hope that answers your question about how long it is. It's 8 weeks, and it's potentially 16 weeks if you choose to do the refresher with it. So I'll just check. No, there's no more questions. So if you do want to ask any more questions, I'll just, as I'm wrapping up here, I'll keep an eye on it. But the next course, as I said, we go live in 2 weeks' time, John's George. If you want to contact us, it's at www.dublincoding.ie. So that's dublincoding.ie, or you can email me. It's Luke, L-U-K-E, at dublincoding.ie, or you can email info@dublincoding.ie and you'll reach us. On the website, you'll find our number, but also you can find the individual courses on the menu bar. You can have a look at the brochure there, or even book a free consultation call. So as I said, we have the Career Centre. So in the Career Centre, we do career consultations where we match where you've been with where you want to go and come up with that career story and career plan for you. So we offer that as free consultation to anyone who really wants it, to see if the world of tech is the right one for you. So here we've just had another question come through right at the death here. What kind of computer do I need for taking the course? So what do we think, guys? What type of computer is best?
I think anything with 4 GB RAM, like 8 GB would be definitely good, but at minimum 4 GB for sure. And I think that should be it, because yeah, exactly. So
we found just a standard laptop. So what you need for the course is a standard laptop and Wi-Fi connection, and also a Zoom account. And once you have that, you're good to go. All of the technologies and systems we walk you through on the course. So you download them, the lecturer will lead you through it. and anything that you need a password, or if there's a paywall, that's all done by the school as well. So you get your codes, and then you're using these systems, and they last for 2 to 3 months. So that's all you need. You just need a laptop that works, Wi-Fi, and a Zoom account. We have found, I don't know if you found this, guys, using Mac is a little bit more tricky to download SQL and things like that, but you can do it. So our manual actually deals with that. So we walk you through it. So actually any laptop with a Wi-Fi connection and a Zoom account will be good to go for our course. And then we provide everything else on the course. As I should say, when you're on the course, you get an access to a student hub, and you get your own profile. And in there, you can see your schedule. You can contact the lecturers. The recordings of the past lectures appear there, so you can watch them back. And also you get the slides. So it's all online and contained within that hub. Okay, so I think that will be it for the evening. So I'll just say thank you very much, guys. And that was some really good insight into the banking sector and also what a data analyst does. So I'll just let you guys, if you have any final comments, actually, lads, I don't know if you do.
Hope you're able to get some good insight to what data analysts do, and hope to see some of you in the course actually soon.
Thank you very much. And Vinil, do you have any last thoughts to share with the viewers?
That's great. Thanks for having me, Anu. And I hope everyone finds this this session useful, and hoping to see some of them in the course.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, look, thanks for watching. Again, the website is dublincoding.ie. And if you go to the Contact Us section, you can follow up by email. We're sure to respond. We look forward to hearing from you. But other than that, thank you very much and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.